Alright, we have one more match. Now, before we begin this match, which is Cike versus Kalnas. Kalnas is a close personal friend of mine, so if I give him more shit than usual, just please know I'm not just bagging on a random member of the community. It is because the dude is well known to me. We'll wait for this to pop up. Any day now. There we go. Now, we have a red-purple mirror match. Kalnas is very new to the game. Funnily enough, one night when bored, we went looking for a card game, me and Kalnas. We came across Gods Unchained. We played it for, I don't know, half an hour. Realised it was all this weird cryptocurrency bullshit and that the game was quite literally just Hearthstone and fucking awful. And I'm a stubborn bastard. I'm like, I'll just keep going. And he goes off to look for another game, still in Discord. And he's like, I'm gonna play this Gods Unchained thing. I'm like, yeah, it looks alright. Tell me how it is. He streams it on Discord. I watch for like one game and I'm like, alright, I'm installing Gods Unchained, playing Mythgard. And he promptly stopped playing about a week later just because he loved purple and purple was terrible. And I didn't give up on it, and here I am. But with the academy, he's like, yeah, I'll come back. I'll use it as a chance to learn, get some packs, yada, yada, yada. So, long story short, his collection is very small, very new. He's kind of thrown together. He's like, what's good with purple? And I'm like, based on your collection, just do some red stuff. So he's thrown together a purple-red, which is really funny, because at pure chance, he's been thrown against a purple-red with someone who, by the looks of it, has way more of a goddamn collection, just judging by the fact that he has 2 mythics in hand. So what I know of this deck is that it's sort of purple shinobi, some value from Spirit Gate. It's a whatever I have deck. Whereas this, I don't know. Again, I don't watch these matches before the match goes. It's interesting that he's using Rainbow with red-purple. It's not what I would expect. There's not really enough enchantments in purple that are decent to make it worth it. Red, you could be looking at things like Carnival. Yeah, sure. Orpheum, maybe, if you wanted to. It just depends. And the only way let me start that again. The only way we're going to find out is by playing it, so let's give it a shot. Nice, Quirty. Nice, super long delay on play. Pressing play. Burn Spirit away, good. Kalnas understands, burn your bigger cards first. Good, excellent. We don't have to teach that lesson again. Temple at Delphi. Yeah, out of all of those, that's probably a pretty good start. You've got a lot of cards. You've got Deadman, so yeah, absolutely. If you want to burn that, you don't really need the card draw. Oh, wow, no, yeah, he burnt Spirit. He should have burnt Seven Ring Ritual and played Iron Flesh. I didn't even see that. Yeah. Always build your board presence. If possible. Always. Yeah, I mean, look, no one plays Temple at Delphi, but if it's this is what I've got, it's a pretty, it's a pretty card, etc. And yeah, it's always hard to burn your best card. Yes, Kalnas is probably looking at that going, ooh, it's sexy, I got a prestige mythic. He got that on, like, his first day, and it enraged me. But yes, yeah, there's definitely some, like, I don't want to burn that, but you should. That would go a long way to helping you here. This is also his first game in months. Magmator gets burnt. That goes down. Again, he should burn the 7 ring. He's not doing it, but he should. I would love to look at the mana curve for this deck, because we've got a lot of 3+. And that's just really brutal. Is there a reason he's not playing Dead Messenger? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Flip a coin if the thing on this dies? Oh, I mean, he's not playing it because he burnt a purple, but he shouldn't have. And yeah, that's a great point by So Watts as well. Burn another purple, get Sword Sand out for mana efficiency, get a Budding Blade into your head nice and early, absolutely. Laser's making a good point. Okay, so this is going to be the long match. This is the educational match, because we're going to impart a bunch of basics on you. And now I've completely forgotten the point I was going to make. Laser's pointing out that the earlier you burn a good card like that, the more likely you are to see it back, right? The decks in Mythgard often get shuffled quite a lot, just as part of the... You don't see it, but it does. Every time you ever look at a card or is revealed or something is put back. This is the third match of 3, but I do audience matches after this. But this is the third official match. The earlier you burn a card, like 7 Ring Ritual, the more likely you are to see it back. Right? And especially if you're running red, green, anything and have Pseudonomicon, just burn your big cards immediately, because the second you get that card, you can tutor for them. It's crazy. Oh man, I thought I talked a lot in my normal streams. Doesn't play anything because his mana curve is wacko. Plays that out. When you're versing red, never clump. Magmator is one of the best AoE removals in the game, don't do it. That should be over here, or over there, because that only allows 2 block positions against it, right? Wrong, actually, the decks almost never get shuffled. Really? Because every time there's a divination, it's shuffled? Oh, interesting. So if cards are revealed, they're shuffled into the deck, but the deck itself as a whole isn't shuffled. Interesting. There you go. Even I'm learning things. There you goddamn go. Huh. Plays that down. Puts the Blighting Blade on there. Yes and no. It's a really weak body to be putting it on, and it's against essentially a rush, what is typically a rush template deck. This isn't a rush template. He's not a rush deck, but it's often enough that is a very risky move. I personally would definitely save it for something like a Terragon. Right? Because the Terragon with Overrun and a Biting Blade is stupid. Okay, burns Leprechaun, and that gets him a Strigoi Reaver. Yep, perfectly fine against this. Red, purple don't have lands that really buff outside of Neo Gangnam, or White Moon Arena if you're actually managing to get that piece of shit off. Here's a pro tip of the day: White Moon Arena is not a good card. So does something like Fires of Creation shuffle? The whole filtering for artifacts when you play a Forgeling? Goes for the 5 Spirit Gate. Now, I like me some 5 Spirit Gate, and in a mid-range ready purple thing, absolutely. No, that's just Div 4. Okay, interesting. And yeah, that just goes to town. Just swings and kills both. He burns Red Carnival. That's a bit rough. I would have liked to see Red Carnival out. You know he's going to get a lot of value out of this. Minions are going to be coming back. So minions are going to be dying, so Red Carnival's probably pretty useful, right? I would be more inclined to burn something like, Stratagem 36. It's not a fantastic card. It has some situational uses, but at 40 cards, it's almost never being included. I would have preferred to burn that and play Red Carnival. This is very nice. I'm very interested to see... It's great with Trapezist. I'd also love to see if he has Fast Lane in deck, because Stubborn Tengu with Rush is hilariously good fun. 4-1 that returns back to your hand because it died before the start of your next turn because you rushed it and killed something with it. It is a 4-1 looping ballistic missile as long as you have Rush on it. It is hilarious. And then correct me if I'm wrong, Tengu is a spirit, yeah? So if you have Ninetail Vixen, if it does die at the end of your turn, and you have fucking Ninetail Vixen, it just goes back to your hand again. Fucking silly. There's not enough cards in the game to make a deck revolving around that super viable before anyone goes getting any crazy ideas. Plays a Misfortune, that trades in, fantastic. Goes to the graveyard, but you don't really care because you've taken care of a Terragon. Yes, the Terragon has returned a card through 5 Spirit Gate, but you're not really caring at this point. He plays down that, so he's going to get a lot of value out of this by just looping things constantly. He muttons that because he's scared of it. With things you've got coming out like Lantern Colossus, maybe you could have saved that for a different body. I think this is more just down to not knowing the cards. He could have saved it for something like a Magmator. He could have saved it for the vampire bitch that I can never remember the name of. He could have saved it for the 2/5 Spirit Lady, etc. Green-purple spirit deck can be a thing. I mean, currently I'm playing green-purple-red Stretcher Spirits, and it's hilariously good fun, and I'm convinced could genuinely be decent. I'm missing this chick, which would be amazing for it. Would be super helpful. No. No. You have a 4/4 with agile and left tap. I think. Just put that there. Who cares about this? It's a 2/2. You take some damage. Hell, ignore it. It's 2/2. Don't waste a Magmator. Play that over here, and he will do one or two things. He will start playing over here, which means he's not generating value over that, out of that, or he will clump here, trying to race and avoid this, in which case you can Magmator for more than one. Right? Let's go. Swings with the sheep. Goes an Iron Flesh to block sheep, sure. Things like this means less damage in the long run, as long as he can also block something like that. But he has the Lantern, so he can go get himself a Terragon. These things are great if you're in a colour that ramps up with creatures. Purple is a great example of that. He's starting to have a lot of answers. The Misfortune early has helped. The Spirit Away has helped. If he'd had to start trading some of these things in 2/1, 3/1, which is what Purple kind of specialises in, yeah, things become a problem. Yeah, that goes down. That's a decent play. We're using... He's understood Alpha Strike as a mechanic there. He's gone, cool, I'll get you down to 1. I'll use the Alpha Strike. That's super beneficial to me. So now he's got to find an alternate way to deal with that if he wants to keep Magmator on board. And if you are finding an alternate way of dealing with that, it's dealing with this rather than dealing with a Terragon, rather than dealing with a Lantern Colossus, etc. Right? That goes down. Now, I'll be interested as to whether he focuses that. Because a lot of new players will look at something like that and go, who cares? I have seen what this card can do. It is some horrifying shit if left unchecked. So I wonder if he's going to dedicate the proper resources to take care of it, because it is a goddamn problem. We see the Tengu come out again. And nothing here would have really changed any of that, so that's fine. I'm on board with basically all of that. We see Balance come out, draw 3 cards. Beautiful. Good time to do it. Terragon does go down to go deal with it. Absolutely fantastic. That is the wrong choice, because it goes back to hand, and I feel that's just not knowing the card. He should have swung it in there, because Tengu's not going to be able to kill it anyway. It still retains the Alpha Strike. You reckon putting the 4-1 there was a misplay? I mean, yeah, he's just kind of wasting resources. Oh, the 2-2 does have cloak, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It does have cloak. That's a good point. Yeah, he should have put the 4-1 here, honestly. He should have just ignored it. Again, it's a 2-2. You don't care. Once it's at a 3-4 with life tapping out the strike, then it's an issue. But it's a 2-2. He should just be racing. He has a almost double health lead. He should just be popping it here and going to town. Right? Didn't need to dedicate that. He had cloak. Very likely he's forgotten about that, but that's okay. This is newer player stuff. That's all right. Again, and this comes back to the rule 1, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look through. Read through the effects on the board. Read through what Turn of Seasons is doing with Winter. Do things have Slayer? Do things have items attached, etc. Make the most informed decision you can by reading all the cards. So that wasn't needed there, right? Could have 100% gone here and done some damage. Should really keep Racer to be able to double Pearl and infuse and take care of it. Yeah, absolutely. Could keep it. Oh, if that doesn't deal with it, can Pearl, infuse, dead. But again, I feel this comes down to he feels pretty confident here. He doesn't believe that this is so much of a threat. He hasn't seen what 9 of these in hand do. Don't you start me. Oh yeah, he goes the Misfortune. He's got Rush down, and he's going to rush a goddamn Tengu in. Oh boy, let it begin. So. Sadly, there's really no way to keep that alive. There's no location he could put that would let it live and still deal with that with the Tengu. So you might as well take advantage, use the Tengu now rather than one of the spirits. Wait a minute, no, he had 4 mana, didn't he? He should, because of 5/6. Spirit wouldn't have done it. That's a shame. Yeah, yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, unfortunately, this is basically the only way to do what he's doing currently, and I agree with it. Sacrifice that to get that back. Sure, that dies. He's going to get a spirit. That dies. It'll take that with it. He'll get 2 spirits. Is it only your minions? I think he'll get 2 spirits. No, he'll get 1 spirit. It's only yours, isn't it? Yeah, it's only yours. He gets Misfortune back. That'll trade in there. You have a chance to kill this. Do it. No! You still have a chance to kill it. Do it. No! This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call not enough fear. Right? If he had just any other way, he needed to put... He could have done that over there, Pearl charged in, he still would have got a loop from it. That would be dead. I mean, you're running low on cards, he has a clear card advantage of these goddamn spirits that just keep looping. This needs to die. And, unfortunately, he's working himself further and further into a card disadvantage. Ooh. Even now, Racer into that would have been better because that's more damage. How much of this is being flustered, how much of this is new, etc. Like, this is some impressive damage, sure, but I still would have liked to see that there killed. Racer can go in there, dead. You could steal Spirit Gate if you'd wanted to. Lots you could have done. And then these can't deal with that because of Alpha Strike. Right? You could send this across the whole goddamn board hunting those little things. That comes in. He's using that for card draw. Decent enough choice. Absolutely fine. And he's going to start pinging with spirits. And now Kalnas is into the top decking, which is a huge problem. Now he's drawing things like Strigoi Pup, which just don't help here. Kills the Tengu. Yep. If anything, he maybe should have sacrificed that with the Wings of Abaddon. If you're not going to dedicate enough resources to kill it by now, you've basically just got to pray that you can race. Yeah. Magmator goes down with Misfortune. It's one of the better spot removals. Beautiful. Yeah. And that's it. That's the official. Like, he's been on the losing side for a while, but that is the official you've lost. That was the only thing keeping him in the game, unfortunately. He's now top decking onto 5 Spirit Gates, praying for some sort of loop. He gets a Lantern Colossus, which ain't too bad at all. Peach of Life could help. It's only getting 4. 4-1 Rush comes out. Caramba. Okay, hold on. Let's think. I very much think I would have preferred to just seen that Rush. At this point, killing that is pretty much pointless. I would have just liked to see that Rush in. You put a Lantern Colossus down here. You go... How have you burned... Oh, you can't go Immolation Cloak as well. I'd almost just prefer to see that than Immolation Cloak. Right? Or done the Lantern there, the wings. I just would have put the wings further away. I wouldn't even have switched their positions. Right? Because that can't come in and deal with that. I just would have put wings there and just swung in. Cool, you're now at 7 health. You have a Lantern Colossus that you can't kill just with these. Well, you can kill just with these two, with the Misfortune. But, yeah. Right? Yeah. And this is alright. I haven't played this game for quite a while. Yeah, you can't win the value. He's got too much in hand. He's got 5 turns of chump blockings if he wants to, just in spirits, on top of card draw from this. This is still 100% winnable. You just need to rush for face. Okay, he gets Steam Bun. Good. Starts with the draw from Steam Bun, hopefully. Draw with the Steam Bun. Good lad. Battle Chef. At this point, that thing can go to hell. I don't care. What I would almost do is I would start putting these where I'm playing the majority of my minions over here. To, because he has Misfortune, try and get rid of incoming hits. Whether that would work. But he puts that there as a block. It blocks as much damage as anything else. He gets Armor 1 and Regen, which makes up a little bit for the Misfortune. Puts a Squire Pike on. Puts an Immolation Cloak on. And the Immolation Cloak kills those. He needed to overrun. Right? Like, yes, you would take 5 damage from Misfortune. Unless he has a Magmator or a Rush minion, which he hasn't shown any Rush minions, or very little Rush minions, and he's already used 2 Magmators, which is all of them, he'd be 1 hit away. He would have to block with something. We can see those. We know he has a Tengu in hand. And all of his minions basically have had 1 health or 3 at most. He would have won if he had swung there. I mean, 5 damage. Even that wouldn't have killed it. He could have brought it across so that it was swinging into that. That probably would have kept him alive, but he would be praying for no Wings of Abaddon or no Wyvern or something like that. So this is always be swinging. So that goes there. That goes there. That goes there. Okay. Now, I feel like if I had to predict anything, he's going to forget that has Warded, and that Warded interferes with Cloak. Hello? Game? Well, not game, but video, please. There we go. Yeah, and he swings through the middle. Needed to swing through there, because then the Thingo would have helped. Thingo would have saved him. Like, you could still do that, you know? He needed to get that off, which means he actually would have gotten the return because this wouldn't be suppressed. Those 2 would die to the Immolation Cloak. Then he could Peach of Life. It's simply a targeting error there. And Misfortune hits that hits it. Yeah, he literally would have won if he'd attacked the turn before. And yes, infused with overrun minions is another great point. Damn. He actually had it so close. For as many mistakes as he made, he actually had that so close. Yeah, and this is top decking into nothing now, and he knows it. Oh, shame, my boy. That's a racer. Oh, Fallen Spirit for the kill. Yeah, fair enough. If you've got it for 1 game out of 50, why don't you? Not too bad at all. Kalnas should have won. He should have won a good couple of turns earlier if he hadn't made a few of the mistakes he'd made. And I feel like that comes down to a lot of decisions. But Cike's deck isn't fantastic. I like that you got a ton of use out of her. I don't begrudge you having her in a red deck, red-purple, go these spirits. You can use them to trade up with Misfortune. Like, really enjoyable deck, but there are cards in that I would take out. Right? Like, Stratagem 36, you just don't need. Get it out of here. If you don't have Fast Lane and you really like this deck, focus on getting it. The Dashing Rune Masters are good. The Mammotaurs are great. You needed to play things like this. The life tap on the Vampire would have really, really helped. And, you know, you're not playing that instead of things. We pointed that out earlier. You're not burning Stratagem 36. You're burning, you know, Red Carnival. Red Carnival, you would have won the game. Think about how many things died, right? Think about how many of those spirits died and got resummoned. Look how many you had in hand at the end of the game. Now, think about that with the Red Carnival buff. Shit's nutty. Oh, yeah, absolutely. All of this comes with a caveat. And I said this at the start, right? Like, these aren't your players. This is all down to collection. I'm just saying, as your collection grows, if you really like this deck, you want to keep growing it, these are the things to consider, you know? This is at no point like, Peasant doesn't have, you know, 100% of all except for Mythics and... I mean, we're not you. We're not all missed 100% across the board. Yeah, this is the instance we were talking about. Play the Vampire instead. Don't play that to get rid of one. Because it forces essentially 2 choices out of Kalnas that you could have dealt with that Magmator the turn later. It was a fun game to watch, though. Lots of mistakes, but it was educational. We got to point out a lot of things. And it's these games that are going to help people learn a lot. Whereas the last game, it was basically, these are 2 good decks. These are 2 reasonably good players. This is how you play against a deck type. Had a guy, Stratagem 36's Armageddon Angel twice, and I Temptationed it for lethal. Wow. Alright. That is very much a fringe case. You are not going to have that in a usual bloody game. Tell you that right now. But hey, it was interesting. Right? It was better than normal. It was fun. So I am not opposed to that in the slightest. Very nice.